Good morning, everybody. I see that we've got all of our attendees loading, so we're just going to give everybody a second to get into the webinar. My name is Chelsea Rosti, Director of Business Innovation and Tourism for the City of Montrose, and
hi guys, I'm Kate Adams. I'm the DART Program Assistant with the City of Montrose.
Thanks, Kate. If you want to say hello in the chat this morning, just say, make sure you select all panelists and attendees and type hello and what business you're with or what organization you're with, and so we can see who's here this morning. Again, if you have questions as we move forward through the webinar, just type it in the Q&A function. So at the very bottom, you can click on Q&A and then you type a question and that filters it so that we're able to see it a little bit easier. Hi, Vanessa with Mingle. Dave Frank, good morning. Councilman Dave Frank, thanks for being here. And Mary from the Rec District, good morning. Lori Sharp, good morning. Mark with Dalby, good morning. Dave Bowman, good morning. And Matthew Gallegos, good morning from the Elks. Mayor Bynum, Daniel Carnes from El Dorado, Kimberly from Shishi. Awesome, it's good to see everybody this morning. Again, so Q&A at the bottom, and we'll answer questions. It's just Kate and I this morning, so we have kind of a fun little facts Q&A thing about sort of restrictions, what we can expect with restaurants, and a lot of different things. Basically what this is a summation of all the questions that we've been receiving recently from different businesses or issues that we've had or came across that businesses are facing. So we're gonna go through some of that today. And then if you have questions, just type them in the Q&A and we'll be sure to get to them. It's super casual this morning. Might even have you out of here a little bit early. So that's awesome. Good morning, Councilman Glassbell and Anderson. Thanks for being here. Teresa Ballou, thanks for being here from Moore's Automotive. Don, the Stonehouse, thanks for being here. And Joheen from Mingle, awesome. So Mingle, I'm just gonna take a moment to say, is a restaurant that was just about to open right before coronavirus happened here in Montrose. And so it's over on North First Street near the bicycle shop and in Design Signs. And it's been a lot of different restaurants and bars over the years, but I'm super excited for Mingle. It's gonna be a sports bar. They win the award for the first downtown business to have a roll-up garage door. So can't wait for these guys to open. They're gonna have a lot of activities for our youth with games and things like that. And it's just gonna be a family-friendly place and it's beautifully redone. So if you get a chance to swing by there and check it out, I totally encourage that. It's gonna be exciting when they're able to get open and going. All right, looks like everybody's had a chance to join now that we've wasted a little bit of time getting that done. So good morning. I hope you have a nice local cup of coffee and you're ready to chat a little bit. So again, like I said, this is just gonna be a lot about questions we've been receiving, things that maybe we're seeing out there in the community that are a little bit off from what the governor's guidance is. And then we're gonna dive into restaurants a little bit too at the end, because that's really a hot topic right now in the community, both for those of us, those of you who own restaurants, manage restaurants, and then those of us who want to patronize them. So first and foremost, masks. Okay, so this is obviously a huge thing that is a requirement by the governor's orders and CDPHE, and there's a lot of sort of question of who needs to be wearing masks, who doesn't from a legal standpoint, but I'm just gonna start with the benefit of a mask. Okay, so if you're wearing a cloth face covering, it keeps part of water droplets from leaving your mouth and potentially infecting another person. And so if the other person is wearing a mask, then you're protecting each other by doing so. So maybe if you're of the mindset that, hey, you know, I don't really care about wearing a mask, like if I get sick, I get sick. Well, that's awesome, you know, if you have that mindset, but it's really about the other person. And so we're asking people to wear masks to protect other people. That being said, businesses that handle food in any capacity, so that's grocery stores, restaurants, coffee shops, anything like that, the farmer's market, those employees, all employees of those businesses legally need to be wearing masks, and the employer of those employees needs to provide the masks unless the employee provides their own, which is totally fine. I'm gonna stop right there and let you know that Montrose County and Sue Hansen specifically has worked really hard on the mask sewing project almost from day one of this, and we have masks to provide to you. So Kate's going to talk a little bit more about the business ambassador program that we have, but we have masks, so don't worry. So what about retail? What if you just have a retail shop? So the orders are a little bit interesting when it comes to that, but basically what the public health orders say that Kate's going to be sending out to everybody, all 36 pages for your reading pleasure. It says that anytime that your employee is in contact with the public, they should be in a mask. So if you own a retail store, manage a retail store, work in a retail store, that's the law. That's what needs to be happening right now. And so if you maybe have someone in the back who's packaging goods, they're not in contact with the public, that's different. Okay, but someone in the back at a restaurant needs to be wearing a mask. That's the difference there, okay, because they're handling food. Then when it comes to offices, so you have an office, it's an accounting firm, what does that look like? Okay, anytime you're in contact with the public, a mask should be worn. So if you have a client that you're in contact with, you should be wearing a mask. Again, with offices also, we should be operating at 50% capacity. So that means half of the employees in the office at this time, or you can stagger shifts. Same with manufacturing. All of your employees can be working. They just shouldn't be working at the same time or in close contact and proximity with one another. One more thing I'm going to address that we've been hearing a lot about is gatherings. So we all know that there was graduation on Sunday, and that a few more than 9 people were gathered in one place. That was not the intent of the graduation parade. It got obviously out of hand, I'm just gonna say, farther away from the guidelines than we would have liked. It's not something that the city or the county or anyone else can control. But right now, the guidance from the governor for safer at home is gatherings, public or private, of 9 or less. That's how many people should be gathering together, no more than that. So weddings, I know there are a ton of weddings happening this weekend. Just gonna leave that where it is. But if a venue were to host a wedding of more than 9 people and there were to be an outbreak at that venue, then that would become an outbreak site. And so it's not really about the Montrose Police Department showing up and laying the law down. They're not gonna do that unless there's an immediate threat to life or safety. But it's really more about your business or your place of work or worship being a site where people get sick. We don't want that. It's the same with graduation. We would hate to see an outbreak because as a result of the graduation that we had. And I'm not trying to point any fingers. I'm just saying that that's an example of what might happen if people gather. We just want to still be really careful. We don't want people to get ill. We don't want people to die. And that's what, you know, the primary focus of all of this is safety of life first, and then the economy second. Okay, enough of that stuff. Let's talk about the variants. So the variants that Montrose County Board of Public Health submitted to the governor to ask for restaurants specifically, but other places like gyms, to open earlier than the rest of the state because our numbers have been declining. We've been flattening the curve effectively here in Montrose County. So we were hoping that we would have heard something in about a week, which it's been about that long. And that's not going to be the case. So the reason being is that many counties submitted a variance at the very same time as Montrose. And so they have a lot to review and they have a lot of data to sift through. We're being told that we might know something within 5 days and it could take as long as 2 weeks. So stay tuned to that. I don't know what's going to happen, but I would predict that by the time we hear something, we may already be rolling into the next phase of the governor's orders, but I don't know that for sure. So we will communicate the information just as soon as we can about what's happening with the variants, what we can expect. And I have a little bit more information about restaurants here later in the call, but I'm going to toss it over to Kate to talk a little bit about ambassadors and just to remind everybody about our ambassador program and what we have available for businesses in the community.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So the Business Ambassador Program is staffed between the city and county, and we have also a lot of really great volunteers like Phoebe, and the Mayor Barbara Bynum is on our team. This program is optional for businesses. You don't have to have an ambassador come by, but with everything changing, it's hard to keep up with what is allowed and what isn't allowed. So an ambassador is just there to interpret and help you understand how to move forward with keeping your business open. At the end of the day, we want to see you open. We we love you guys. You guys are the heartbeat of our community. So we are there to provide masks if you guys need them. We are there to help with marketing ideas, ideas of innovation, safe operation principles. So how to open your doors, how to keep customers happy, how to keep you happy. We're really just a support system for you. And so I went ahead and I dropped Chelsea's email. My email is in there. If you need an ambassador to come by, please let us know. We are more than happy to come by. We could do a walkthrough. We can run some ideas of really innovative ways for you guys to be open, and we are happy to do so.
Thank you, Kate. Can you teach me how to unmute myself? All right. So yeah, the ambassador program has been really successful, and it's actually something that's getting a little bit of attention from other communities. And so it's not a policing effort, it's a helpful effort. And so if you, and another question that we've received a lot that I want to reiterate, you don't have to have an approval or a plan approved to open your business. If you think you're within the confines, or to further open your business, if you think you're within the confines of the guidelines, please, by all means. But if you want to put together a plan, or maybe come to the city and the county and talk about a creative way to get to another place with your business, let us know. I always refer to them, but CrossFit Agoge had, you know, a 2-page plan written out, ready to go, about how they were going to open and keep people safe. And they did it, and they've been operating, and it's been going really well. So we're here for you, and we're happy to share ideas. And we have a great marketing team who, I mean, these ideas are free, so it's here for you. Okay, let's transition into restaurants, the hot topic. So a few things that we've been chatting about at the city and county level about how we're going to increase capacity for restaurants in the community. So for all things that we're seeing, we believe that there's going to be, when restaurants are able to open to sit down or consumption on premise, that's going to be at a reduced capacity. So the natural thing to do is to increase the space where these services can be offered. So spilling out into the parking lots, the alleys, the, you know, wherever the space may be that you can increase your space. That's the natural thing to do, right? So we've been thinking about ways to help businesses, to help restaurants legally do that, especially when it comes to alcohol consumption, safely do that. So if you remember back, every year we put out parklets on Main Street. They're these little wooden temporary decks, for lack of a better term. And so they take up a couple parking spaces. They're beautifully constructed wood. And I would think, you know, in a parklet, you could have 2 or 3 tables safely spaced out in that one space. And so we have those available. There is some permitting required for alcohol service within the parklets. And so our city clerk, Lisa DePiccolo, and Kate can get all this information into the notes, can help guide you through the process of all of these things. But know that we have the parklets. We've got 5 available for free for your business. We can put them out in the parking spaces in front of most businesses. You can put them in your parking lot. You can put them behind your business. You name it. Let's get creative on what we can do with those. And it doesn't have to just be a Main Street business. I mean, I'm talking, you know, Dawn, you at Stonehouse, if you want to expand into your parking lot, let us know. But just remember, if you want guests to consume alcohol in those parklets, then we're going to have to do a little bit of permitting. So let's get talking now. Let's start working with Lisa and with Kate about how we might go about that. And also know that if you're interested in a parklet, also please speak up now, because we would be willing to construct more. If there's enough interest in it, we have the plans for them, and we can work on constructing more, and we'd like to get started with that as soon as possible if you're interested in. That begs the next question of just plain old sidewalks, alleyways, you know, without the parklet. Like, how are we going to utilize those? So be thinking about your space. I've been talking to the distillery and about their parking lot and what that looks like and how can they utilize that. How could another food truck maybe come up and use part of that space along with delicious food? So those things are all possible, but it takes permitting. It takes an expansion of the liquor license, because there's a footprint of where liquor sales are permitted at this time. And so we're going to have to get through the process of expanding that permit. Know that the city is, you know, wanting to help with that, wanting to expedite it, but it becomes a state process. And so we're working on interpreting that. We've been advocating to the state along with many other municipalities about really streamlining the process of expanding the footprint of where alcohol can be sold. So I guess I just want to say today, like, nothing is impossible. let's think outside of the box of the restaurant and where we can do these things. The next thing that the city is thinking about right now is sort of outdoor markets or outdoor seating, maybe closing down a street and having that closed for a while and having tables 10 feet apart, maybe shade, maybe some twinkle lights, you know, just really making an environment where people can even pick up their takeout. Because how many of us are tired of picking up our takeout and driving home? Maybe you can pick up your takeout, go to this outdoor dining area, see some people from across the way and start to have that experience of gathering again in a safe way. So these are all things we're thinking about. It's all going to take permitting. It's all going to take cooperation. But we are thinking about different outdoor seating that would be communal and that restaurants could maybe deliver to, that restaurants could maybe send people to if people receive takeout. And so they're nearby and they can just walk around the corner and sit in this outdoor space. And so just kind of be thinking about that. We're open to ideas too about how this might work. And if we, let's say we close down a street downtown and that was working really well, we could look, you know, down to River Landing and maybe a few restaurants clustered there. We close part of the parking lot and work with them on getting some tables safely spaced out and that type of thing. So these are all things that we're thinking about at the city. We're really wanting ideas and what you think might work best for your business. And we're also working really hard to interpret the liquor laws on each of these pieces so that people can enjoy their beverages, so that we can serve on premise if you're expanding your premise, or while we have the luxury of takeout alcohol, what that looks like in public spaces. So, okay, Joheen is asking about what is the policy for gloves in restaurants with servers. So it is required that servers wear gloves in restaurants, food handlers wear gloves by the governor's orders. Those gloves must be provided by the business. Now, Dr. Joe here in Montrose, our public health interpreter or doctor who advises the county board of health, you know, has some theories on gloves that perhaps they reduce the amount of times we're washing our hands and that type of thing. But the idea being that food handlers should be wearing gloves and changing gloves in between interactions with their customers. So yeah, it is required. Thanks for that question. I sort of grazed over it because I think that we have a little bit more of a looser interpretation of that here in Montrose County. Doesn't mean don't do it, just maybe perhaps a different interpretation. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about is that just last night, the state of Colorado released a draft of the restaurant guidelines that may be coming forth in the next phase of the governor's orders. And so we'll be getting those out to all of you. There's two portions of the draft. So the top portion is sort of what we're doing right now. And then if you scroll to the second page when Kate sends it out later today, you'll see the proposed guidelines. And so it talks about everything about what the restaurant should be doing, what the customers could be doing, ideas like you know, the paper menu idea actually made it in there, allowing customers to view a menu on their own personal device, all the contactless payments, just all kinds of different things. One person in a restroom at a time. So what the state is asking is for you as restaurant owners or consumers to review these proposed guidelines, and right at the very top of the document is a link to provide feedback. And that'll take you to a place where you can say, you know, I own a restaurant and this is the issue that I foresee with this. Or I own a restaurant and I didn't see anything about this, and I think it would be a really great idea. Now would be an excellent time to advocate about the expansion of liquor permitting through this time, you know, providing that feedback to the state. They're asking for your feedback. So now is a time to really provide that and give them the information to help make these guidelines. I think it's really cool that they're asking for boots on the ground type of grassroots input. So that's the time, and we'll send that out today. You're free to share it with anybody. They want to hear from us. So let's make a good showing for Montrose. Joheen, the variance from the governor. So Joheen's asking if we've heard back. So I covered that a little bit earlier. I'm sorry if I didn't cover it clearly, but we have not heard back from the governor. Senator Quorum actually did speak with Governor Polis directly about the Montrose County variance and was told that there are just a lot of counties who have applied for one and a lot to review. And so they're going to get to ours just as soon as they possibly can. But like I said, I'm starting to feel like now we might sort of come in line with the next phase of the governor's orders by the time our variance is reviewed, and maybe not. You know, maybe we will get a variance and we'll be able to operate a little bit sooner, open up a little bit sooner. Matthew from the Elks is asking about the parking lot. Could we invite a food truck to use our parking lot? So Matt, you could do that right now. You could invite a food truck to use your parking lot, advertise that. It's just that right now people cannot consume food on the premise. So they could pick it up there and take it to their house or a park or their vehicle, but they can't actually consume the food there. However, once we open and maybe there's a 30% capacity, then absolutely, if you wanted to throw 4 tables up and spread them 6 to 10 feet apart from each other, awesome. That would be great. Another thing that we're hearing is that the orders will be asking restaurants to limit parties to 6 or less who sit with one another. So that'll be something to think about. So there's no loopholes for, you know, wedding ceremonies in restaurants or things like that. So just other things to think about. If you have larger tables or larger gathering areas in your restaurant, maybe you can turn those into a bunch of smaller tables that are spread apart. Okay, so that's really what I wanted to share with everybody about the, you know, what's happening with restaurants. Okay, Kim is asking from Camp Robert, how do you suggest we handle those customers refusing to wear a mask while we take them to their seats? No. You don't have to, Kim. So you should be wearing a mask, but you don't have to require your customers to wear them. You can, if you want to. You can say, if you'd like to dine in this restaurant, when you're traveling between the door and your table, you will wear a mask. And when you're traveling from your table to the restroom, you will wear a mask. But it's up to you on how you want to run your restaurant and how you want your customers to interact with one another. So I know that feels really strange to enact these rules or these regulations on customers. And so you don't have to, according to everything I'm reading right now, you don't have to, because obviously people are going to have to eat and drink and they're not going to be wearing a mask while doing that, right? So we know that they won't have to wear a mask all the time. So it's up to you, however you want to interpret that. I've seen a lot of businesses that just are simply saying, hey, look, you know, if you don't want to wear a mask in here, then, you know, please go, you know, it's just not going to work for us because we want to protect you and we want you to protect us. I've seen restaurants in Grand Junction. Bin 707 is a great example of this. When Grand Junction got their variance, Bin 707 didn't open. They just still did takeout because they weren't ready. They didn't feel like it was safe. And so it's up to you, which is great, right? We can all have the option to think about what we want to do and how we want to run our organizations. So I know that doesn't maybe answer your question of like, how do you go about enforcing that? But I think you can sort of lay down the way that your business is going to be ran just like you would anything else and have those expectations of your guests. All right. Can we serve drinks only at our tavern patio, or are meals required to order a drink? I don't think meals are required to order a drink. Ned is from Cobble Creek. At all. So I think that I think what you're referring to is you have to serve food in order to have this liquor license that you maybe have. And I think that you can serve drinks on the patio as long as social distancing is in place, but we'll want to look at those guidelines as they come out. And Lisa Del Piccolo, again, our city clerk, can definitely further answer that question. All right. Told you I'd get you out of here early. It's 8:53. So I'm going to give it a moment for any more questions, comments, that type of thing. Thank you all for hanging in there. Like Kate said, you're the heartbeat of the community, these business owners. I will tell you that Montrose is kind of killing it, like in regard to Corona, like in general, our economy is doing well in perspective to other economies. And that's not meant to say that other places are worse or better than us, but we're strong here. And sales tax numbers are looking good. And I think that, you know, if we can roll out of this safely and with innovative mindset, that we're going to be okay. You know, we're going to recover quickly, faster than maybe some of the other communities. And that's not something we saw in the last recession, right? And so it's due to all the work that we have all done in the last 10 years that we're going to be able to recover more quickly than maybe some other communities. Okay. Looks like we have a couple questions that have came in. Will the city allow exercise groups of less than 10 to use city parks since we cannot be inside? That is a possibility. I know that when we were in tier 3, which is the phase that the city's in right now, last time we allowed that. And so send us a plan, send us your ideas, and we certainly would consider an application like that or an idea like that. And we also have a sound system that we would allow you to use for free from the city. So Kim from Camp Robert, if tables are spread out by 8 feet, can we seat every table if we have more than 30% capacity? I don't know, Kim. That's something that even in the draft, it didn't give us the answer to. So we don't know if it's going to be a capacity, if it's going to be a distance thing. I have no idea. And so, and that begs the question, well, you know, if you expand into your parking lot and then your capacity becomes larger, then it's the same number of tables that you might have had inside. You know, I get that. So I don't know. We're still waiting on some guidance with that. I hope so. I hope we can just spread out the tables. Thank you, Joheen. I can't wait to come to Mingle. So it's going to be awesome. Okay, gyms. Any news on gyms reopening? Faith from Golds. So the gyms were part of the variance that the county and city requested from the governor to help move those along. We know that there are some gyms who have found a way to operate with small class sizes or, you know, limitations with virtual experiences, but every indication we're being given is that the typical gym life will not be a thing for quite a while. Same with traditional movie theaters, music venues, things like that, where just a lot of people would be able to gather. Now, I don't know, like maybe we could find a way to just allow 10 people in at a time for an hour's time, and they stay away from each other. And then after the hour is over, the equipment is clean and the next 10 people can come in. I mean, I don't know, come up with a plan like that. I think that we would be willing to look at that, or 9 people with a staff member or whatever, about how 9 people could be in the gym working out, and we're monitoring that. We're checking their temperature every time they come in. So let's think about those ideas to get creative with it, because us at the city and the county want to find a way to yes. So businesses being closed does nothing for us. We take no pleasure in that happening, and we want to find a way to yes while keeping people safe. So let's talk about it. But yeah, I think we can find a way, but traditional just gyms being open, I don't think is going to be until much later in some of these phases. And while I have a moment, just wanted to announce the city, like I said, has transitioned to tier 3, which means that we are offering again some in-person services. So people can visit City Hall if needed, which is actually located at the Visitor Center, 107 South Cascade, and conduct business through the glass. Our courts are open again, and a little bit more of a person-to-person services. We are trying at the city as much as we can to also adhere to the 50% workforce with at the same time in the office. Even though we're an essential employer, which means that we could go beyond that, we're really trying to model that. I know I won't be going back to the office for a while, but that's okay. The dogs are enjoying it. So anyway, I am actually going to take a vacation. So I will be gone next week. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll be taking a little break. And so Kate's going to be hosting the panel next week. And our tentative plan is that we will have some news about either the variance or the next phase from the governor. And so what we'd like to do next week is really talk about what that's going to look like. And then we'll also have more information about these outdoor seating arrangements for restaurants. And so it'll maybe be City Manager Bill Bell, or maybe our city clerk or our city attorney talking about the liquor laws and interpretations of that. And then hopefully Sue Hansen or Dr. A or somebody from the county. So we'll be talking about really the next phase. That's our plan. And Kate will host the panel. Okay, Teresa's asking about the library. Another one, Teresa, that is a sticky situation. So I think that you could probably let like people one at a time into the library, right? But it's become a public place where a lot of people utilize the computer systems, the Wi-Fi, you know, those type of things. And so we're thinking that it's going to be a while. But if you have not checked into the library recently, you should. They will deliver books to your doorstep. You can go pick up books. All you have to do is email them, and you can now return books as well. And so that system is functioning really well. And I know that there are a lot of other things that the library is utilized for, and everything we're being told is that the library will probably be closer to when gyms and movie theaters will be open. But again, you know, we can get creative if the need arises. Kate, is that, do you think, how much notice are you expecting? Okay, so Dawn, the governor has said that he will give restaurants a week. So at least a week before everybody can open at that reduced capacity. Now, if we receive our variants, I don't know. That could be, you know, almost immediate, or the county could elect to say, okay, beginning in 5 days, you know, we're going to be doing this. And so maybe I'm not giving the right information there. Maybe Sue or Dr. A might have something better, but the governor at least will be giving a week's notice. And so we can think about, but we'll send out that restaurant guidance, and it'll give you a really great snapshot of what we're really expecting to come through. And you'll see like all the different regulations that they're thinking about putting into place. And then that'll probably just be altered a little bit by the time it comes out. So you'll be able to prepare, even starting now, to think about what you're gonna do. All right, it is 9 o'clock. So we made it. Awesome. Thanks everybody for being here. I will miss you. Please reach out to our ambassadors if you need anything. Don't forget about our marketing cooperative grant. So 2 to 3 businesses partner up together. The city has $1,000 available to market. So you can talk about you're open, how you're interacting with your customers, team up with another business. We've seen some really awesofm ones come through. So cityofmontrose.org/COVID-19, click on business resources. You scroll down, information about the marketing cooperative is there. So we're here to help. We want to help get the word out for your business. And we also have free marketing support like graphic design and ideas on collateral and that kind of thing. Thanks, Kate, for laughing at me. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for being here. We'll see you soon.